Yeah, there. Okay, I have to make a video response to somebody making a video response to me. And I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. He's actually very hard to understand. I blame mostly my computer. My computer does not have the greatest volume. In fact, I have it up full. So I think it would help if I could turn it up a little bit more, but I can't. But yeah, he's kind of hard for me to understand. So far what I heard him say was that I accuse Christians, generalizing Christians all as the same. Christians aren't interested in science. That is false, and clearly he has not been watching all my videos, which is totally understandable because I have way more videos than I probably need to have, but I like doing this. I don't say that Christians don't have an interest in science or aren't interested in science. While I was a Christian, in fact, the entire time I was an amateur paleontologist, I was a Christian. Me and my former husband were part of the Burke Museum, the Northwest Paleontology Association. We went on digs, and it was great. Mostly I was just somebody who dug up stuff. I wasn't a paleontologist by any stretch of the imagination. We had other people with us who would help us identify things, and I have a meager collection of fossils from that experience. I was probably into on-hands paleontology, part of this club for maybe 5 years, and I have quite a rock collection now. Anyway, so that was while I was a Christian. And yes, I know there are scientists who are Christians. By the way, I was a Christian for 35 years, so I don't know what all this guy is going to say. I might not even listen to his video because I don't want to attack him for having a point of view. And, you know, people can say they disagree with me, that's fine. But he says that I generalize about Christians. No, I don't really. I was a Christian, and maybe he doesn't understand this. I was a Christian for the majority of my life. From age 12 until about 4 years ago, I was a Christian. So I think I have some ability to say what I think or what I observed from being a Christian myself, from being around other Christians. I think that, yes, there's no way to generalize, and Christians make the huge mistake of generalizing about atheists too, and it's very annoying to be on the receiving end of a generalization. There's always going to be different people. There's always going to be exceptions. I don't honestly understand how any scientist can compartmentalize. God, putting your thoughts in little boxes. I don't know what I know what the word is in my head, but getting it out is okay. Anyway, I don't know how a scientist can be a Christian, except that they think this way when they're doing science. They're logical, and they're whatever. They have the interest in finding facts and learning the truth about this over here, but over here in this compartment, their normal pattern is different. Everything requires evidence except for this, their religion. They can do that. They can have a wall between their religious life, their spiritual life, and everything else. Everything else requires evidence and study and experimentation, etc., etc., etc. And then there's the religious life that, no, I have complete faith that this is true. I don't need to have evidence. I don't need to have proof. I don't know how scientists can do that. When I was a Christian, I did that. When I was a Christian, I did everything in my power to take this, my spiritual beliefs, my religious beliefs, and this over here, my beliefs about evolution, because I did believe in evolution as a Christian, and mesh them somehow. And I did try to mesh them. I rationalize, what's the word? I came up with my own interpretations of things to make the two things work. Okay, well, I don't believe in the Adam and Eve story, but I believe that at one point there was a first man and a first woman. You know, there was evolution. There was these creatures that were getting more and more like humans as they evolved. You know, and one day there was the first, you know, human, and that's how I explained it in my head, because I believed in evolution. I didn't believe that poof, there they were. I believed that, you know, there were these lower forms of human that, you know, continued to evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve. And then when they got to the point where they were truly human beings, rather than I tend to think of human beings as even like the Lucy, I don't remember what she is, but she's like the earliest human they found. I consider her a human being. I would say Neanderthals, but I guess Neanderthals are not considered human. I don't know. Anyway, but that's how I rationalized the Adam and Eve story. I didn't think there was a garden. I didn't think that God just said poof. I tended to think that the 7 days that it took him to make everything, that symbolized great, huge amounts of time. You know, that a day for God is not a literal day, but rather billions of years. That's how I rationalized it as a Christian, and I believed that evolution and creationism were not incompatible. I came up with ways to, you know, the whole thing with things that didn't come in the right order, well, that's just human error because humans didn't know science when the Bible was first written. But the general idea is there. The basic general. This is stuff that I used to think in my head to try to keep the religious beliefs intact while pursuing my interest in paleontology. And I also had an interest, we had a telescope, I had an interest in astronomy. You know, so yes, I do not think that Christians have no interest in science. I do think that Christians deny that they throw all that away when it comes to their religion. When it comes to their religion, they do not go out in search of answers. I didn't. So when I say that, oh, Christians don't do this, they don't go, I didn't. So I'm speaking about myself. I'm speaking about other Christians that I've known. Of course, there's going to be some Christian out there, well, I look for evidence. I don't think you do. I think anybody who actually tries to look for evidence to support Christianity, I mean, not just looking at the superficial whatever that's out there. The first few websites or whatever that pop up when you type in something in Google, if that's all you look at, you're not going to be looking very far, and you're not going to get the truth. You're not going to get the whole story, because there's a zillion apologist websites out there. There's a zillion things. If you just scroll down the page and just look at the page and look at some of the wordings in the paragraphs, or just how many times does the word God appear in that? How many times does the word Bible appear? I mean, if it's obviously written by a Christian, whatever, you know, it's going to have that. It's promoting Christianity. It's not going to give you the truth. If you want to find out the origins of Christianity, you have to look further than Christian websites. You have to look further than Christian books. You have to really look further. I looked. You know, the first things that I looked at were like Akaria M. I think that's her name. And then I found out that, well, I don't want to say too much because I don't really know. You know, just like there's people who, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to say this. I've just heard things that maybe that's not the best resource, and I hope, you know, I don't want to badmouth somebody, but that's when I first started trying to find evidence for religion, find evidence for my religion, actually start applying the same things that I applied to every other part of my life to the things that were close to my heart, like my relationships, learning to determine what of my thoughts were distorted and try to stop thinking those things you know, the habits that were causing me harm. And those distorted thoughts, when I started weeding them out of my life, that included religion. I realized that religion was another thing that I had compartmentalized over here, that I wasn't applying the same whatever, skepticism to, the same, they weren't going under close scrutiny. I was just accepting on blind faith that people were my friends, that I was cared about, that, you know, the guy that lived with me wasn't using me, but he actually cared, that the religion was true, that there is a God, all these things that I assumed because I didn't apply the same kind of scrutiny to these things over here that I did to things like paleontology and astronomy and nature. I have a fascination for animals and a fascination for wildlife. Well, that is animals, but just the outdoors and the environment. So I don't know what else he says about me, because he says in his little thing, the video that he put up, and I did accept it as, you know, you guys can watch it if you want. It's called DDD's Failings on Christianity, and he's a Christian. Well, so was I until 4 years ago, for 35 years. So I don't know exactly what his idea of my failings are. Everybody's going to not agree with everybody. Of course, there's like, what, 32,000 or whatever different denominations of Christianity out there. So there's always going to be Christians that says, well, that's not how I was told Christianity is. I can only speak for what I know from my experiences as a Christian and the Christians that I knew. And Christians that I see on YouTube who put out their Bible verses as evidence for their religion and don't bother to research the origins of their religion, or they go, oh, Joe, my dog is driving me crazy, or they cite Josephus or other sources that are either proven forgeries or they aren't contemporary authors. They came. I'm gonna have to cut this short because my dog, I'm about to. So anyway, I just wanted to say that I'm going to come back, actually. Okay, I'm back. I had to bring the dog in. Okay, I'm going to click on this guy's video. It's only 8 minutes and 27 seconds long. I heard the first part. Very hard to understand.
Who are scientists, and it doesn't conflict with their faith at all. Okay? Something like that.
Next.
To claim that we have to provide nonsense to it. No, we have to understand the Bible. You see, because
he's saying that I claim that Christians have to understand the Bible.
Yeah, come to the Bible and say, well, here's what it says, and this is what it meant. Any idiot can do that. But you see, those of us with intellects know this method called textual criticism. Now, if you've ever read any book ever, you understand what textual criticism is. You don't just go through a book saying this is what it means, the literal meaning. You actually have to go further than that. You have to get into the intellectual depth of it, which includes cross reading to get different passages of the book. And this applies to any book.
I'm having a hard time understanding him, but he's basically saying, it sounds to me like he's saying that you can't just read something and go, okay, this is what this is saying. You have to get deeper. You have to go deeper. So he's assuming that I've never gone to any Bible studies. We did extensive Bible studies at the Bible camp that I worked at for 3 years. And I was an assistant Sunday school teacher. And yes, I have gone to adult Bible studies. I do have some idea of the meaning. I think that what we studied, none of the things that we studied had anything to do with the atrocities that God commits, either personally or orders to have committed. So no, I didn't study those things because, curiously enough, that those were never the point of interest that the person running the Bible study wanted to study. So I really did not know that a lot of the horrible things, ugly, brutal things in the Bible that God does I didn't even know that they were there until I read the Bible straight through, and that basically is why I'm an atheist now. So I do already know that yes, you have to look deeper than just the superficial, and then you can come up with whatever you want. You can say, oh well, you can justify all the horrible, evil things that God did, or you can look at them and say, what a bastard, which is what I've chosen to do. That's my call. I think everybody who reads the Bible is going to have their interpretation, and most of them are going to base it on whatever church they go to or whatever Bible study they go to. When I stopped listening to other people's interpretation and started just reading it objectively, that's when I realized it was a horrible book, a horrible, evil book, and describing a horrible, evil entity, which is this Christian God who makes, like I've said before, this Christian God makes Satan, the Satan character, look like Captain Kangaroo. So skipping ahead, I'll probably miss some of his points, but I just want to try to address some of them.
Longer than I have to explain to you how proper textual criticism is actually done. Well, what I would recommend to you, and this is not a religious thing, you can go and do literary courses at your local community college, in which they'll teach you about literary criticism, about cross-readings, about textual criticism.
He's giving me advice on how to do literary criticisms. Well, I don't think so.
Saved by Jesus, and they don't have to do anything. Which is the flesh is claiming that a lot. Same reason I don't have a problem with people being Sikhs, being Hindus, being Thai.
Okay, well, I don't need to listen to the rest of this guy. I'm sure he has some good points. Everybody does. Well, not everybody. But anyway, one, I'm not going to go to a class and learn how to literally criticize whatever the fuck. I don't care. I can give an opinion. I don't have to be... I am not a... I'm not a scholar. I don't claim to be. I'd like to see less people make the same mistakes that I made. I'd like to see more people be a little more aware of the choices that they make with their life, because it's a huge choice what you decide to follow, what you decide to believe in. Just deciding to believe in something, that's I just said it. That's just not the way it should be. You shouldn't decide to believe in something. You should research it first and find out with the best of your ability that it's true before you put your whole life, you dedicate your whole life, all your energy and all your money and all your time to something thinking it's true, and all your hopes thinking it's true, and then it's not true. It's hard to find out when you're as old as me that the last 35 years of your life was based on a lie. So anyway, this is kind of sort of my reply to him from what I feel like listening to of his video. And like I said, not everyone's going to agree with me. I can only speak for the kind of Christians I encountered in my own brand of Christianity that I was when I was a Christian. I can't speak for all Christians, but I do think that to be a scientist or to have interest in science, you truly have to be able to separate the thinking you do when you're being scientific or interested in evidence and interested in finding out, what makes things happen, and religion. There's a separation. You don't do the same things with your religion, and if you do, you usually don't stay religious very long, because that's basically what happened to me. The moment I actually read the whole Bible and started really researching how this religion came to be put together and who and where and how and when the Bible was written, I couldn't believe in it anymore. The moment I started applying the same kind of things that I did the rest of my life, the same level of skepticism, I guess, to my religious beliefs, they fell apart. So anyway, that's all. This is just my little response to this guy, and his name is Phoneybeetlemaniacxs. Let me see. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is a long name. Phoneybeetlemaniacxs. Phoneybeetlemaniacxs. It's kind of a cute name. And he spells maniacs, M-A, it's all one word too, M-A-N-I-A-C-X-S. You know, I do have to say that this is I appreciate this guy's video. I don't agree with it completely, but I appreciate the fact that he is not laughing at me and he's not mocking me. He's giving an intelligent feedback and criticism of my videos, and I do appreciate that kind of a video. So that's why I didn't have a problem putting it up, and you know, I think that everybody is going to, you know, no matter what you listen to or what you watch on YouTube, you're going to find things you agree with, and there's other things you don't agree with, and that's just normal. So anyway, if you've been watching, thanks. Bye!